For an incredibly long time, the vast, silent expanse above our heads was primarily a destination for brief, historic visits. We sent rockets up there to plant flags, capture breathtaking photographs, and conduct specialized scientific experiments far from our atmosphere. However, the year 2026 marks a profound and irreversible turning point where space rapidly transforms into a domain where humanity will soon reside, conduct major business, and establish permanent constructions. This monumental transition is now being universally recognized and labeled as the monumental Great Orbital Shift that redefines our species' future. As the first month of 2026 begins, the profound, ancient quietude surrounding the moon is scheduled to be decisively shattered by the voices of human beings for the very first time in more than half a century. While the venerable NASA team meticulously finalizes preparations for the historic Artemis II crewed endeavor, an entirely new, much faster kind of international competition is heating up in the relatively crowded environment of low Earth orbit. From the extremely ambitious blueprints originating from China for developing massive, gigawatt-class artificial intelligence data centers operating in orbit, to the imminent launch of the very first fully private, commercially built space stations, the trajectory is clear. Indeed, 2026 is officially the pivotal year where we begin the serious, tangible process of relocating both our planet's essential digital networks and critical physical apparatus into the heavens above. Today, we are setting out to meticulously explore the crucial missions that are actively transforming what was once the untouchable final frontier into a genuinely accessible, functional extension of our own backyard. Let us now turn our attention to the absolute zenith of current human endeavor, the mission universally acknowledged as the unquestionable crown jewel of this remarkable year, Artemis II. This incredibly significant flight is firmly scheduled to ignite its engines no earlier than February, representing the first time that human beings will officially strap into the Colossal Space Launch System, or SLS, for a deep space trajectory. The brave crew of 4 highly trained pioneers will execute a complex high-speed loop around the completely unexplored far side of the silent moon, meticulously testing the Orion spacecraft's closed-loop life support systems against intense radiation. Yet, it is critically important to understand that this grand undertaking is emphatically not merely a simple nostalgic rerun or mere repetition of the legendary Apollo-era missions from the past. The current Artemis crew is strategically focused on validating the crucial operational principles of the emerging lunar gateway architecture, which forms the backbone of our sustained lunar presence. Furthermore, within this very significant year, 2026, we are also witnessing the highly anticipated launch of the Blue Moon Pathfinder, a specific technology demonstrator mission. This Pathfinder probe is purpose-built to rigorously test and perfect the sophisticated landing systems that will ultimately guarantee the safe, soft touchdown of humans back onto the desolate lunar surface in the near future. To put it plainly, our collective goal is not just a fleeting return visit to the familiar moon. Instead, we are actively constructing the permanent, reliable highway that will eventually guide us onward toward the distant planet Mars. The opening chapter of 2026 definitively signals the moment when that critical pathway to interplanetary expansion is finally, unequivocally cleared for heavy traffic and sustained use. Now, as the national space agencies maintain their focused gaze fixed firmly upon the bright surface of the moon, a completely different global power is intensely concentrating on harnessing the immense raw potential of the digital cloud. Quite literally. Sometime in the early part of 2026, the massive China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation made a startling announcement, unveiling a long-term development roadmap that sent understandable shockwaves through the entire global technology sector. This shocking roadmap prominently featured the development and deployment of truly massive, gigawatt-class orbital AI data centers, representing an entirely new class of space-based hardware. The fundamental question remains: why would humanity undertake the extraordinary difficulty of placing advanced artificial intelligence processing power into the challenging vacuum of space? The answer lies in the unparalleled advantages of the orbital environment, offering virtually infinite, uninterrupted solar energy collection and a perfect vacuum that acts as an incredibly efficient passive cooling mechanism for sprawling server racks. By the close of 2026, the ambitious goal is to execute complex, big data processing operations entirely in orbit, allowing subsequent satellite systems to instantaneously analyze everything from global climate patterns to sensitive military deployments and crucial resource distribution maps. This capability drastically mitigates the inherent communication latency, eliminating the time delay associated with sending raw, unprocessed data all the way back down to terrestrial ground stations for analysis. This technological leap signifies the verifiable beginning of what many are terming Space 4.0, an era where the very fabric of the internet doesn't merely originate from space, but actually resides, computes, and lives permanently within the celestial environment. Meanwhile, while one segment of the industry diligently focuses on lunar exploration and crewed deep space missions, another pivotal shift is occurring in the established domain of low Earth orbit housing. For more than 2 full decades, the venerable International Space Station has maintained its unique status as the sole continuous orbital home for human beings living beyond the confines of Earth's gravity. However, this aging, shared orbital laboratory is now reaching the natural limits of its operational lifespan, creating a significant opening that the burgeoning private sector is aggressively moving to fill during 2026. This year, the ambitious California-based technology startup known as VAST is scheduled to deploy Haven -1, which is poised to become the very first standalone space station conceptualized, built, and owned entirely by private industry. Crucially, Haven -1 is not designed with the singular purpose of accommodating government-funded scientists. Rather, it is architected to serve a diverse clientele, including specialized commercial researchers, paying space tourists, and various other private industrial partners. Simultaneously, we are carefully observing the calculated, sustained expansion of China's Tiangong station, which is undergoing a strategic internationalization process to welcome and host astronauts from many different nations around the globe. By the final calendar moment of 2026, it is a genuine possibility that the total number of humans residing aboard these various private and national platforms could actually surpass the population count remaining on the aging ISS itself. This undeniable trend clearly signals that the long-held monopoly on the fundamental experience of long-term human living in orbit has officially and irrevocably come to a decisive end. Finally, we arrive at the exhilarating prospect of 2026 being the landmark year when humanity truly begins to interact directly with our closest cosmic neighbors, the asteroids. In the month of June, China's ambitious Tianwen -2 exploration probe is expected to finally intercept and rendezvous with the near-Earth asteroid designated Kamotialawa, a particularly mysterious body. Many leading planetary scientists strongly suspect that this unique Kamoa-Owal object might literally be a primordial fragment that broke off from our own planet's moon billions of years ago during some ancient, violent event. The primary objective of this technologically demanding mission is to successfully collect a substantial physical sample of that ancient material and carefully bring it back to Earth for comprehensive laboratory analysis. This priceless sample promises to unlock profound secrets regarding the violent and formative history of our entire solar system and our own terrestrial origins. Later in the same eventful year, the European Space Agency's Hera mission will arrive at the Didymos asteroid system to meticulously inspect the exact aftermath of the crime scene left by NASA's successful DART impact experiment. Through these incredible ongoing robotic endeavors, we are rapidly gaining the indispensable knowledge needed to learn the practical techniques for safely diverting or nudging threatening asteroids, efficiently mining their vast resources, and ultimately protecting our planet from cosmic hazards. In the context of 2026's achievements, it is abundantly clear that we are no longer passively wandering aimlessly through the solar system. Instead, we are beginning to actively and intelligently manage our immediate celestial neighborhood. The collective experiences of 2026 have definitively taught us a vital new lesson. Space has completely ceased being a mere faraway destination and has instead become a functional, essential, and thriving environment for our species. It is now firmly established as the crucial setting for housing our most complex data, supporting unprecedented levels of commercial industry, and securing the foundations of our collective long-term future among the stars. When we observe the ever-growing number of powerful rockets lined up on launch complexes and the increasing density of functional stations visible in the night sky, a fundamental truth becomes undeniable. We are definitively shedding the historical limitation of being irrevocably tethered to this single, beautiful, but ultimately fragile blue world beneath our feet. Through the consistent, persistent, and brave efforts of every single successful launch and every significant orbital achievement, we are actively and intentionally evolving into a multi-planetary civilization. This monumental transformation is being achieved one powerful, meticulously planned rocket launch and one hard-won orbital breakthrough at a time that requires constant momentum. If you are someone who desires to remain completely current and receive immediate updates on every single historic launch and every critical orbital breakthrough that occurs throughout this pivotal year of 2026. Then the next step is exceedingly clear. Please consider hitting that prominent subscribe button right now and confidently join our rapidly growing, passionate community of dedicated explorers, thinkers, and future builders. The final frontier, once a distant dream, is now unequivocally open for serious exploration, rigorous development, and very lucrative business ventures. We sincerely thank you for taking the time to watch this deep dive into the defining space events of this historic moment, and we look forward to seeing you on the next transmission.